Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Friday, June 20th, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those in the Experts tab at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Friday, Major League Baseball. First up, we've got the lone afternoon game for Friday's card, the Mariners and the Cubs. We got George Kirby and Cade Horton as the starters. Now, George Kirby, definitely not the best start to his season in those first few games, but his last three starts, he's given up 2 runs or fewer in all 3 of those games. The strikeout numbers are back, and he is still giving up some sharp contact. We've seen 5 home runs allowed in his last 4 starts combined. That is a concern against a Cubs lineup that's been great against right-handed pitching. I think Kirby can put together a solid outing, but I still think that Horton's going to be the better option just because of his matchup. The Mariners have been a little bit inconsistent offensively this season, and now in the last 30 days against right-handed pitching, they're ranked 17th in baseball with a 703 team OPS and a pretty low isolated power to go with it. The strikeout rate is also starting to climb a little bit, so I think Horton, who put together a really good bounce-back start in his last game, can go 5-6 strong innings, and I think the Cubs are going to back him up offensively. I'm going to roll Chicago in this game on the money line at Wrigley Field. Next up, the Rangers and the Pirates. We've got Jacob deGrom and Mike Burrows as the starters. Now, it may be tough to fade Jacob deGrom when you've got the Pittsburgh Pirates on the other side, one of the weakest offenses in baseball. And I don't think the Pirates do too much offensively in this game, but I can't expect the Rangers to do much more either with their current form offensively, their terrible season basically offensively to start the year. And the fact that Mike Burrows has been a lot better at PNC Park through his first few games of the season. He's got an ERA above 5 on the road, but an ERA below 4 at home. 14 2/3, 15 strikeouts. He's been reasonable at PNC Park. He's also in solid form. You look at his last game, that was actually on the road against the Cubs. 5 1/3 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts against one of the best lineups in the National League in a 2-1 run line cover loss. He lost 2-1, but it was still a cover for the Pirates. And they've done very well on the run line as underdogs in the last 10-15 games or so. A lot of one-run games for Pittsburgh. I think this one could be another one. I'm going to take the 1.5 runs with the Pittsburgh Pirates as the home dog. Next up, we've got the Orioles and the Yankees. We got Tomoyuki Sugano and Max Fried as the starters. Now, Sugano's been a little bit inconsistent as of late, but he's also somebody that made the Yankees look silly back on April 28th, the first meeting between Sugano and the Yanks at Camden Yards. He went 5 innings of shutout ball with 8 strikeouts. He was somebody that before that he had combined 4 strikeouts the last 3 games before that Yankees start, but he was able to miss a ton of bats in that game. It was a 4-3 Orioles win, and with the current state of this Yankees offense being pretty much miserable in the last 2-3 series, I think Sugano could put together a solid outing. I mean, Max Fried's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, facing an Orioles team that's been dreadful against lefties, so I think he pitches well. I'm looking at the under. There's been a lot of unders for the Yankees recently. Give me another under here. Next up, we've got the Rays and the Tigers. We got Jack Flaherty and Shane Baz as the starters. Now, we've talked about Shane Baz with a 4.5 ERA, a little bit of a disappointing season. The fact that he's given up some home runs and the strikeout numbers have been a little bit underwhelming with less than a strikeout per inning. But he's coming off one of his best starts of the season. It was 6 2/3, a shutout ball against the Mets. 6 strikeouts. It was a 9-0 win, and the Rays have won his last 5 games now. He's given up 3 runs or fewer in all 5 of his last 5 games. The issue with that, though, is he's only going 5 innings, 5 1/3 innings, so those 3 runs, they're not quality starts. They're still not the best outings, but he's getting a lot of run support, and the Rays are number 1 in baseball right now in the last 30 days against right-handed pitching in team OPS. And against Jack Flaherty, who's coming off one of his worst starts of the season, giving up 7 runs and 3 home runs, and a starting pitcher that's, for the most part, lost a lot. The Tigers have lost a lot of his starts this year. I think it's a good spot for the Rays at home. I think their offense shows up yet again. I'm going to roll with the Rays on the money line at home. Next up, we've got the White Sox and the Blue Jays. We've got Davis Martin for Chicago. No official starter right now for Toronto. Now, Davis Martin's got an ERA below 4, but an expected ERA above 5 on the season. I do expect major regression as the season goes along. And this Blue Jays lineup's been a tough lineup for opposing right-handed pitchers. Toronto in the last month is top 10 in both team OPS and isolated power against righties, with a very low 14.7% strikeout rate to go with it. So they're putting the ball in play. They're not, striking out And they've got some power numbers. I mean, the isolated power ranks 7th in baseball, so it's not just small ball. This Blue Jays lineup is playing really well, and I think that Davis Martin's in big trouble. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays here, lay the 1.5 runs at Rogers Center. Next up, we've got the Braves and the Marlins. We got Bryce Elder for Atlanta, no official starter right now for Miami. Now, this is a tough game. I am going to lean towards the Braves. I do think that they'll be able to get to Yuri Perez, who didn't have a single strikeout in his last game. It's pretty concerning for me. I've mentioned many times that Bryce Elder is not one of my favorite starting pitching options to back, but he faced the Marlins last year at a 6 2/3 shutout performance in a 3-0 Braves win. I know now is a new year, and this is a new-look Marlins lineup, but I still think Bryce Elder will be the better option by the end of this game. I think the Braves have the much better bullpen in this matchup, so a lean for me with Atlanta on the money line. Next up, the Mets and the Phillies. We've got Zach Wheeler for Philadelphia, but no official starter right now for the Mets. I mentioned this Mets pitching rotation and starting rotation is really in trouble right now with all the injuries. Frankie Montas is in the rehab starts, and he is getting crushed right now, so not really great news on the horizon for the Mets either there. And I think that Zach Wheeler is going to be the much better option no matter who the Mets go with in this game, whether it's a spot starter, Jose Butto, or a bullpen game. And I think Zach Wheeler, who was struggling a little bit, we saw 6 runs given up against the Braves on May 29th. His first 2 games of June were excellent. 12 innings of 1 or 2-run ball combined, 16 strikeouts, only 1 walk. And those were against really tough lineups in the Blue Jays and the Cubs. We just talked about how Toronto does a great job at limiting strikeouts with the lowest strikeout rate by far in Major League Baseball. Wheeler still earned 9 Ks in those 6 innings of 1 earned run baseball in that 11-4 blowout win. So I got to roll with the Phillies in this one on the run line. This is a tough spot for the Mets. They just finished up their series with Atlanta. They've got this series in Philadelphia, then they play the Braves again. That one's at Citi Field, but I think the Phillies take this first game at least. Next up, we've got the Cardinals and the Reds. We've got Brady Singer and Andre Pallante as the starters. This is a tough game because the Reds, we've mentioned they're crushing right-handed pitching as of late, but Andre Pallante's got great numbers against his current Reds lineup and a pretty large sample size to go with it. Plus, he's a ground ball specialist, and the Reds do have one of the higher ground ball rates in Major League Baseball this year. Brady Singer has been a little bit inconsistent. He's been better on the road, that's for sure, but I still think that when you look at the projected WAR numbers, the Cardinals' bullpen is a little bit better than Cincinnati's on paper. I think that Pallante can put together a decent outing as long as his control's fine, where he doesn't walk a lot of guys, which, his last 3 games, just 3 walks combined. Definitely a step in the right direction there. I'm going to lean towards St. Louis. I think this is going to be a competitive game and a competitive series. This first game, I'll lean towards the Cardinals. Next up, we've got the Brewers and the Twins. We got Jacob Misiorowski and Joe Ryan as the starters. They got 2 good starting pitching options, 2 good bullpens that I trust. I mentioned I think the Twins have the best bullpen in Major League Baseball, and 2 offenses that have been a little bit inconsistent against right-handed pitching as of late. I think we go under the total. I mean, the Brewers in the last 30 days, pretty low OPS against right-handed pitching. They're starting to pick it up a little bit in recent games, but still below league average in isolated power. And then you look at the Twins, OPS 723 is good for 14th in Major League Baseball. I think that both starting pitchers can go 5-6 strong innings, and then the bullpens, carry it over. I'm going to roll with the under in Brewers Twins. Next up, we've got the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. We've got Zach Gallen and Austin Gomber as the projected starters. I think this is going to be a high-scoring series, and I think it's going to be an entertaining series. But the Rockies, you can't doubt, they've been a lot more competitive in recent games than they've been the entire first half of the season. And I think that Austin Gomber, we saw it last year for him where he had a few really good outings to start his season. He kind of tailed off as the season went on, but he pitched really well in his season debut against a tough Braves lineup. The Braves were hitting really well against lefties going into that game. Gomber went 5 innings of shutout ball with 4 strikeouts in a 10-1 Rockies blowout win. How many times have we said Rockies blowout win this season? But, for me with Gallen, we know he struggled this year. It's mostly at Chase Field, but even, on the road, a sub-4 ERA, but it's not as dominant as we're used to seeing Zach Gallen in the past. And he's given up a lot of sharp contact, a lot of walks, a lot of home runs. His strikeout numbers are still there, but I can't trust him at Coors Field. And then you got the Diamondbacks bullpen, which has been miserable this season. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I'm going to take the Rockies plus the 1.5 runs on the run line at Coors Field. And I also think the over is definitely worth a look. Next up, we've got the Astros and the Angels. We've got Hunter Brown and Yusei Kikuchi as the starters. I think this is a pretty lopsided pitching matchup. And on paper, Kikuchi's got great numbers with a almost sub-3 ERA, but his expected numbers are really steep, and the underlying numbers are also not great. I wouldn't mind backing the Angels with Kikuchi on the mound in certain spots, but this is against an Astros team that's just been absolutely crushing left-handed pitching in the last 30 days. Number one in both OPS and ISO, with a very low strikeout rate to go with it. Plus, they've got their ace on the mound, Hunter Brown, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. So I think it's just a one-sided game here. I'm going to roll with the Astros on the run line. Next up, we've got the Padres and the Royals. We've got Michael Lorenzen and Nick Pivetta as the projected starters. Now, we've talked about it a few times this season and in years prior that Nick Pivetta, usually when he struggles, it's because of the home run ball. And a lot of that was because when he was pitching with the Red Sox. But even this season, when we've seen Pivetta struggle, he's given up sharp contact. We've seen him give up at least one home run in 4 of his last 5 games. However, in this matchup, even though Pivetta's struggling with the home run ball recently, the Royals in the last 30 days and pretty much overall this season, one of the weakest lineups in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching. They're 26th in isolated power in the last 30 days. So while they put the ball in play consistently and they have a low strikeout rate, that's not necessarily a concern for Pivetta. You know, he does strike out a lot of guys, but as long as he's keeping the ball in the yard, I think he could put together a good outing, a quality start in this game. I think his offense will back him up against Lorenzen, whose ERA is now just below 5, and it's above 5, almost above 6 on the road this year with a 2-5 record to go with it. Give me the Padres on the money line in this one. Next up, we've got the Guardians and the Athletics. We got Jeffrey Springs and Tanner Bybee as the starters. Now, Jeffrey Springs has been a little bit inconsistent this year, and he's got an ERA above 5.5 at home, but he's got a great matchup here against the Guardians team. It's been dreadful against left-handed pitching in the last month plus, not just the last 30 days, but in the last 30 days in particular, 29th and 27th in ISO and OPS, respectively, against left-handed pitching for the Guardians with a strikeout rate above 25%. And that's an over 350 plate appearance sample size, a pretty healthy sample size. The Guardians have faced a lot of lefties in the last month, and they have struggled. And I think Springs can put together a good outing. I think Bybee's a good option on the other side, but this is a very capable Athletics lineup. That's the issues for the A's have not been because of their offense. So I think that the A's have the lead through the first 5 innings. I think they could certainly have a chance to win this game in the full game, but I do think the Guardians have the big-time bullpen advantage. So I'm going to go with the A's in the first 5, probably a split wager between first 5 and full game. Next up, we've got the Nationals and the Dodgers. We've got Mackenzie Gore and Clayton Kershaw as the starters. Now, the Dodgers have not been anything special against lefties as of late. In fact, they're below league average in team OPS against southpaws in the last month, and the Nationals are also in that boat with a 640 team OPS. I think we see both lefties pitch well in this game. Kershaw's in good form. Mackenzie Gore's in excellent form. So give me the under in the first 5 innings between the Nationals and Dodgers. And the final game for the Friday card in Major League Baseball, it's the Red Sox and the Giants. We got Hunter Dobbins and Hayden Birdsong as the starters. Now, this is obviously a very interesting game with Rafael Devers facing his former team for the first time, this time in San Francisco. But you got 2 good starting pitching options, 2 young starting pitching options that have impressed so far. Hunter Dobbins, a 3.74 ERA, solid expected numbers to go with it. Birdsong has pitched well as a starter. He was mostly featured as a reliever in the first few months of the season, but he's gotten some more starts recently, and he's put together some good work. So for me, 2 struggling offenses against right-handed pitching in a pitcher-friendly ballpark with solid bullpens and 2 good starting pitching options. I'm going to roll with the under in Red Sox Giants. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those under the Experts tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.